team have traveled north to Durham to take on Duke. The Ramblin' Wreck just one win away from clinching a spot in the ACC title game. Georgia Tech Duke coming up. Welcome to ESPN's coverage of college football, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Today we come to you from the campus of Duke University. The Blue Devils playing their best football in years, taking on a Georgia Tech team that is now 7th in the BCS standings and are just one win away. Yep, if they win today, they will become the Coastal Division champions. Duke needs to win 2 out of its last 3 football games to become bowl eligible. And we welcome you to Durham. A beautiful day for football. The Jets are flying over the stadium, Pam Ward, along with Ray Bentley. Boy, this Georgia Tech team got the scare of its life last week against Wake Forest, had to go into overtime and went for it on a 4th down. It was a big gamble, but it paid off.
Yeah, it did. Paul Johnson took that gamble, and it paid off. His quarterback, Josh Nesbitt. They're down by 3 in overtime. 4th and 1. He gets it on the quarterback sneak. The very next play takes it into the end zone, and Georgia Tech keeps the train rolling with a big win.
On the other side of the ball today, it is Duke with a very potent offense. They are having their best season since 1994, which was the last time they went to a bowl game. David Cutcliffe, in his 2nd season, really has helped out quarterback Thaddeus Lewis, who owns a slew of Duke quarterback records and is building on that. David Cutcliffe has really revived this program. Look what he's done since he came here in about a season and 2/3 now. The previous 93 games before he came, only 10 wins for Duke. Yes, they were 10-83. Paul Johnson in his 2nd season, bringing his spread option offense to Atlanta, where it has worked like a charm. And the scary thing is, it's a spread option with some terrific talent at the 3 major positions. And it all starts with quarterback Josh Nesbitt. Georgia Tech has won the toss and deferred, so Duke will receive that. Scott Blair, the junior, getting ready to kick it off. And we are underway on a very beautiful day in Durham. Johnny Williams collects it, slips by one would-be tackler, and takes it up close to the 28-yard line. That's a nifty 25-yard return. Anthony Barnes making the stop. Impact players, the great passing game. Connor Vernon, one of the wide receivers, and Donovan Varner also doing the job.
Yeah, those are 2 former high school teammates that are outstanding. And then the 3rd guy, and I think the guy they go to when they have any kind of trouble at all, is Austin Kelly. He's that main receiver for Thad Lewis, the quarterback.
And there is that number 9. He has been starting since he was a freshman, and as you would expect, they throw it up in the very first play of the game, and he hits Vernon, who was a true freshman from Miami. He picks up 3. Thaddeus Lewis grew up right outside of Miami. He is 2nd right now in the ACC with passing yards over 2,400, as you see, and really a delightful young guy who really is taken, obviously, to David Cutcliffe coming in for his junior and senior years.
Yeah, he said he thought he knew how to play quarterback until Coach Cut came in and showed him how to really play quarterback.
He also is a running threat, but that time he was taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Cedric Griffin for this Georgia Tech defense that has given up some rush yards this year, over 126 per game.
I think that's going to be really important for this Duke offense, Pam, to get at least something on the ground. Last week in the loss to North Carolina, they only ran for 12 yards. They've got to do a lot better than that today.
12 yards total in that game, a 19-6 loss. They only managed a couple of field goals. Here's a 3rd and 7. Lewis, who was hit by Derek Morgan as he got rid of the ball, and Desmond Scott slipped out of a defender's hands to pick up the 1st down. That's a huge 20-yard gain.
Brad Jefferson is the linebacker who has man-to-man coverage on Scott, and he's just going to be running. Here's linebacker number 51 right there. He's got the man-to-man coverage. He's a little late getting out of there. Overruns it. Nice move there by Scott to step back inside, break that tackle, and move the chains for the Blue Devils.
Desmond Scott went to nearby Hillside High School in Durham, right at midfield. Scott gets the carry, And he picks up 13 yards. And that has been something that has been a trouble spot, running the football.
And they caught Derek Morgan on an inside stunt, and that made the block easy for the left tackle, Jared Holt, and just wall him down. And then the seam opened up, and the Blue Devils marching down the field here early on, and that's what they needed to do, get some confidence in the offense going on after that dismal performance from last week.
That is only the 7th time a running back has gained at least 10 yards against a bowl subdivision team this year for Duke. Lewis hanging on to it and throws it close to the first down marker to Johnny Williams. So Duke with a good drive. He's marked just shy of a first down.
Lewis got a nice assist from his left guard, Harper. Went out there and made a block to give him the time to get it in there. And then you saw the nice hands by Johnny Williams staying with the ball and getting the feet in.
Brandon Harper getting the start for Mitchell Lederman, who is out with a bad toe today. Second and a very short one. A couple of tight ends in to block, and they get the first down. Raekwon Boyette, who was one of the team captains today, or one of the game captains, excuse me, picks up 4 and the first down. So Duke, as Ray mentioned, really struggled last week against North Carolina with 12 rushing yards. They've already beaten that on the very first drive. And remember, they got 13 yards on the one run.
Kurt Roper, the offensive coordinator, said we got to somehow find a way to get a running game going some way, somehow today. So far, so good.
High snap, handled nicely, and then Boyette grabbed it for a 3-yard gain. Good job by Lewis just to come down with that snap.
And not only that, to take a hit because Cedric Griffin, the outside linebacker, was blitzing. And I've seen this Georgia Tech defense blitz more here in this first series and play more man coverage. And that sometimes allows you to get a better running game going. When you get those kind of things, you pop a little crack or a little seam here.
Lewis decides to keep it rather than pitch it. Ben Anderson made the stop. 3 more yards for Lewis, the big star of this Georgia Tech defense. And when we talked to Thad Lewis yesterday, the first guy he brought up was number 91, Derek Morgan, who was a defensive end, but they'll move him around a little bit. And here's a guy, as a junior, is already thinking about the NFL.
Yeah, 16 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks, which is 5th in the nation. And he is a one-man wrecking crew. You have to pay attention to where Derek Morgan lines up. Here he is right down here to start this play.
On 3rd and 3 in the red zone, another high snap. Lewis looking in the end zone, has a man wide open for the score. What a drive by Duke, finishing it off with Raekwon Boyette catching an 18-yard touchdown.
Boyette runs a wheel route out of the backfield against that dime defense where Mario Edwards had the coverage. And Edwards took a bad angle, and Boyette just ran right past him. And then a nice throw, dropping it in from Thad Lewis.
Will Snyderwine, who missed last week because of a strained quad that he hurt in warm-ups, adds the extra point. Thaddeus Lewis was picture perfect in that drive. 5 for 5 for 54 yards, culminating with an 18-yard score. Duke is up early. Opening scoring drive for Duke. They converted a couple of 3rd downs along the way, including an 18-yard strike from this young man, Thad Lewis, found Raekwon Boyette. And on that drive, Lewis has become Duke's total offense leader for his career. He's creeping up on Ben Bennett for the most passing yards. And what a way to get out of the gate for Duke.
Yeah, that's huge for Duke. Coach Cutcliffe said we got to find a way to get points, and they did on the opening drive.
Georgia Tech's first chance with it. Orlin Smith, the true freshman, gets the kickoff and breaks to the outside. Nice job by Smith. He brought it back 32 yards, taken down by Zach Green. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Here's Mario Edwards, and he has man-to-man coverage on Boyette. Boyette's just going to run a wheel route right up the sideline, and watch the angle Edwards takes. Just a bad angle coming to the line. Boyette's able to get past him, and then a perfectly thrown ball dropping out of the sky from Thad Lewis for 6 points.
7-0 Duke. Georgia Tech got off to a slow start defensively, according to their defensive coordinator Dave Warnock last week, and are off to a similarly slow start. Here is the second best rushing attack in all of college football. The pitch going out to Jonathan Dwyer, who picks up 3. Vinny Ray, the middle linebacker, making the stop. There's Josh Nesbitt. He is one of the captains of this football team, a junior. He has Georgia Tech records for quarterbacks for both season and career rushing, and really has adapted very well to this offense. He was a shotgun quarterback in high school. Yeah, Coach Johnson said he was a guy that would just run around until somebody got open, and he'd throw it to him, and he has transitioned nicely into this option attack. Has a terrific wide receiver in Demarius Thomas on this team. We expect him to run the ball often early, and Nesbitt is wrapped up for a 1-yard loss by Patrick Egbo, a junior from Mesquite, Texas, getting the start today for Duke. Impact players, Anthony Allen is a speedster, a transfer from Louisville, gives him good speed on the edge. And Demarius Thomas, the man you talked about already, Pam, had a huge game against Duke last year. And then the guy that makes it all happen, the fullback spot, the B-back, Jonathan Dwyer. Back-to-back consecutive career best ball games, over 1,000 yards on the year. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons for him. Here they go. There's the deep shot for Thomas. And the defender, Leon Wright, got kind of tied up with Thomas a little bit as the pass fell incomplete. Mike McIntyre, the Duke defensive coordinator, told us he was going to put Leon Wright on Thomas all day long, and you see at the end their feet kind of click into each other, and you see just the strength of Thomas. He's able to stay up and continue to run, but Nesbitt overthrew him by a little bit, and he wanted pass interference, but you could tell it was obvious incidental contact. So a 3-and-out pitched by the Duke defense. First punt of the day by Chandler Anderson. Just scooches into the end zone. So Duke starts from the 20. 61-yard punt, 41 net. Here comes the Duke offense that marched down the field the first time they had the ball. What you are watching is a transformation, literally the patient waiting room here in the sports medicine building. By, I guess, 5 or 6 days a week. During football season on Saturday, they transform it into the press box. It's right below where we are. We are up on the roof, and it's really an amazing job. For the building right next door to the stadium becomes the press area. Second time, Duke has had the ball. Desmond Scott gets it and runs all the way out to the 41-yard line. That's a big 21-yard gain. Mario Edwards made the stop. What a block he got from Brandon Harper. Watch the big right guard come out right in front of you right there, number 55. He just put Cedric Griffin on his back, and that allows the Duke offense to pick up another first down from Desmond Scott. Harper, a converted defensive lineman. Not much going on with Scott's carry, taken down by Griffin. Thaddeus Lewis from right outside of Miami, all ACC second team last year. And he is in some very good company. There you see the career ranks. He just went over today as well for total offense. And he is most likely going to break Ben Bennett's record for most career passing yards that has stood for quite a while. And watching him, Pam, he's very accurate with the football, gets rid of it extremely quickly. A running threat, makes great decisions. Flares it out that time, a little bit too much mustard on it, looking for Boyette. Yeah, I might have just jinxed him with the old accuracy statement. That's his first incompletion of the day, coming in completing 62% of his passes. He's 6 for 7 so far. And football fans know about Phillip Rivers now with San Diego. Riley Skinner's been around, but Thaddeus Lewis with them, the only guys with 4 straight 2,000-yard passing games in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference. He's finally getting some attention because the Duke football team is winning. And he's got a wide-open tight end in Brett Huffman, who gets it about 6 yards short of the first down. Another tackle credited to Cedric Griffin. He has really spread the ball around. 8 players have a touchdown catch. 3 different receivers have at least 40 catches. And Paul Johnson, he's the kind of guy who sort of shows his emotions on the sideline. Yeah, you know, there's no doubt about where you stand with Coach Johnson. Gerard Tarrant waits for Alex King's first punt. Hangs it up, has to be fielded. Tarrant, who's one of the best punt returners in the country, has no chance. Terrific coverage by Tony Foster, a backup wide receiver who got downfield and dropped him for a 3-yard loss. Good job on one of the best punt returners in the nation.
Let's take a look at this triple option offense. The fullback is the key. Jonathan Dwyer as good as it gets. Then the next option would be the quarterback. And Josh Nesbitt just has to make good decisions, and he does in this offense. Plus, he's an excellent runner with the football. And then the final thing, getting the wingback out on the perimeter for the pitch game. Last week against Wake Forest, that was where most of the Yellow Jacket yards came from, getting out to the edge with the pitch.
And Anthony Allen, number 18, again, a lot of speed out there. Georgia Tech went 3 and out on its first possession. They're backed up at the 6, and here's a penalty. Georgia Tech really, in the first half, especially last week against Wake, had some silly penalties that hurt them.
False start. Offense. Half the distance. Still first down.
Joseph Gilbert, the offensive left guard, went a little early.
So Georgia Tech under Paul Johnson, among the best in the country. Only Nevada has more rushing yards, and nobody holds onto the football longer than they do. They're also first in scoring in the ACC, 14th in the nation, averaging just under 35 points per game. They're backed up now to the 3 after the penalty. Dwyer in the backfield with Nesbitt. And there's the pitch to Allen, and Anthony Allen gets out to around the 9-yard line, picked up 5 on that play. This Duke defense, 7th in the ACC rushing-wise, giving up 139 yards per game compared to Georgia Tech, which gains 315. And oh yes, Georgia Tech with a staggering 36 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what they do, Pam. They get it on the ground, and then they'll catch you overplaying the option. And when they do throw the ball, it's usually a big play.
Demarius Thomas, 2nd in the nation, averaging over 23 yards per catch. We saw him thrown to earlier today, but they failed to connect. Nesbitt on the roll. There he goes to Thomas for the first down. Demarius catching it well under his average of 23 yards, but 14 more than enough to pick up the first down.
And Thomas is such a deep threat that you have to honor it. You watch him, he's just going to run Lewis off, get his shoulders turned, his back turned, and then the comeback becomes an easy route, as Leon Wright is just not able to react to it in time. And then a nice throw from Josh Nesbitt, rolling to his left, gets the shoulders turned back and is able to put some mustard on it.
Nesbitt getting more accurate as the season has rolled along. That's their first down of the ball game. Pitch to Roddy Jones, and he picks up another 4 yards. Katron Gainey made the stop for this Duke defense.
That was a good tackle by Gainey, and it's important for these Duke safeties to tackle well today. And that's been something that I questioned a little bit. And watching some film on them, sometimes they're a little sloppy with that. Gainey came up, made a nice hit on that play.
Gainey, one of the game captains today, the most experienced defensive back. He's a senior out of the state of Georgia. 2nd and 6 for Tech. And another pre-snap penalty.
False start. 7-0. Offense.
That's the second time Joseph Gilbert, who was just going just a beat before it's time to snap the football, and just got to keep an eye on that. And there's big number 70 right there. And watch, he's just going to get a little hiccup. See how he just starts out of his stance just a tad early. That's twice now he's done that.
Makes it 2nd and 11 now from the 21. Nesbitt hanging on to it. Stopped a couple of yards shy of the first down. Patrick Egbo with another tackle for Duke.
This is the keep part of the option. You see that not even much of a fake at all. In fact, that's called from the sideline. And that's what Paul Johnson will do. A lot of times he'll let Nesbitt just read the option, but when he sees something and he wants his big quarterback to carry it, he has the ability to call keep in the huddle. That's what that last play was.
Paul Johnson acting as his own offensive coordinator. No play sheet.
Doesn't have that many plays.
No. Another keeper for Nesbitt. Good tackle by Vinny Ray. Short of the first down. Ray from Far Rockaway, New York. His only Division I scholarship offer came from Duke.
Yeah, and Vinny Ray is right here. And watch him scrape and come downhill. You ever wondered what does it mean when they say downhill? That's the linebacker there coming downhill, coming towards the line of scrimmage.
And it's 4th and short. They're on their 31-yard line, and Paul Johnson's doing it again. He's going for it.
Nobody's surprised. If you watch Georgia Tech, you know Paul Johnson will go for it, usually with his quarterback.
They did try last week to get Wake Forest to jump off sides, and when they didn't, they called the timeout, just like right here.
Yeah, and he's going to punt it because I believe the Duke came up with a defensive alignment that would stop the quarterback sneak.
He liked the defensive alignment he saw last week by Wake Forest, went for it in overtime and made it. This time they're punting. Johnson deciding to punt, and it's a terrible snap. Duke sitting pretty, picking up the football at the 14-yard line.
And it looked like the punt hit one of the upbacks. The snapper, Tyler Morgan, getting a little bit of an earful, but watch this upback right here and see if that punt snap doesn't hit him. Oh, it's supposed to be a fake. Well, but at least the center thought it was a snake. He drilled it right to Anthony Allen. But he's the only one who figured it was a fake. Allen certainly wasn't waiting for it.
So a huge play for Duke, already up 7-0, and they have a first down at the 14-yard line. Tech off to a very shaky start. Right up the middle. A couple of tough yards for Jay Hollingsworth, who led the team in rushing last year. And he only had about 400 yards for the whole season.
Yeah.
And leading them this year coming into this game was Desmond Scott, 174 yards.
And that shows you where their run game is here with this Duke football team. But David Cutcliffe knows the limitations of his team, and they will throw the ball first, and they hope that will set up some run plays. Desmond
Scott did have 100 yards in his collegiate debut against North Carolina Central. Struggled since, and going down, Thaddeus Lewis taken down by who else? Number 91, Derek Morgan. The ACC sack leader gets another one.
Yeah, and Morgan is going to be the left defensive end right out here, and it's just a speed rush. Just going to work outside, and Jared Holt has no help whatsoever. And when we talked to the offensive coordinator, Kurt Roper, he said, you know what, sometimes we'll help, sometimes we won't, and Holt has to hold up, and that time he couldn't.
Morgan with his first sack of the day makes it 3rd and 15. Lewis on the roll, has room to run, but instead dumped it off to Huffman. The tight end gets close and just past the original line of scrimmage, picked up 5. Gerard Tarrant and Cedric Griffin converge on the tackle.
Pretty good job by the Tech defense to at least hold it to a field goal attempt. When you get a sudden change like that and you find your back against the end zone, your defense has to rise up and at the very least try to force a field goal attempt. That's what they were able to do.
And they are going with Snyderwine again. Missed last week with a strained quad. This one only a 31-yard field goal. During warm-ups, he didn't attempt many past this distance. And Snyderwine, who is a semi-finalist for the Lou Groza Award, nails it from 31 yards. With a bad snap on the punt, results in 3 for Duke and a 10-0 lead over number 7, Georgia Tech. Paul Johnson's team with the win today will clinch a spot in the ACC championship game December 5th in Tampa. They are off to a bad start. Duke took the football on its very first drive, scored a touchdown, and on the short field after the fumbled punt snap, got the field goal. Duke, they have to win 2 of their last 3 games to get to their first bowl game since 1994. They need 7 wins because one of their wins earlier this year was against North Carolina Central, which is a transitional Bowl subdivision team, so that does not count. So they need 2 more, and that's a tough road for them, for David Cutcliffe's team. Next week they go to Miami, who's in the top 15, and then they finish at home against Wake Forest. They need to win 2 of the last 3, but I don't think you could have asked for a better start than this one.
No, they have to be extremely pleased with the way this one has begun. And you know, when you're trying to turn things around, which is what David Cutcliffe is doing with this program, a good start to a ball game will only help breed confidence.
Cutcliffe let go at Ole Miss the year after he was the Southeastern Conference Coach of the Year. Smith drops the kickoff, but picks it up and makes a lot out of nothing. Orwin Smith going down the sideline, and he's taken down at the last possible second, just short of the goal line, being marked out right now around the 2.
Sometimes when that return man muffs the ball, which is exactly what he does right here, you end up throwing off the timing of the coverage. And what happened was Duke got out of their lanes, overran this thing as the ball was rolling around on the ground. And then you got a good block from Rod Sweeting, and that just opened things up for Orwin Smith.
Went 84 yards with that kick return, taken down at the 2. Now Duke has allowed both a punt return and a kick to be returned for a touchdown this year, and they were 2 yards short of another one. 1st and goal for Nesbitt. Josh keeps it, puts his head down, and bowls into the end zone. So the huge kick return by Orwin Smith results 1 play later in the Nesbitt score.
Josh Nesbitt is so good at finding the crack in the front wall of the defense. You know, and that's what he's looking for. I mean, this is a kind of a quarterback sneak, and he sees where the opening is, and he reads it pre-snap, and then he just finds that seam and bowls his way into the end zone. There's nobody as good as he is around the end zone.
That is his 16th rushing touchdown of the season. Scott Blair comes in to make it a 10-7 game. This week on Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, Notre Dame takes on number 12 Pittsburgh. Other parts of the nation will see Texas Tech against number 19 Oklahoma State. Saturday Night Football on ABC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Go to ESPN.com and search Maps, where you can find the game that you want to watch. And what a big one for Charlie Weis, right back on that hot seat. Notre Dame has owned Pittsburgh, but boy, Bill Stahl doing a great job with Pitt, off to a terrific start this year.
Yeah, I tell you, I think Dave Wannstedt, his 3 or 4 year plans coming together. They're heading towards a showdown with Brian Kelly's Cincinnati Bearcats last week of the season to see who the BCS team out of that Big East will be.
Cincy, what a game last night that they played, doing it using 2 quarterbacks in that game last night. As Tony Pike, good to see Tony back out there. But now, talk about, is that a controversy? It certainly is. 2 really good quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't think so, because Brian Kelly's done a nice job of saying once Tony Pike is fully healthy, he's going to be that guy. And you saw him come in when they got inside the 10 to get the touchdown passes last night.
With that win over West Virginia. Scott Blair, who just kicked the extra point, is in for the kickoff. Johnny Williams and Connor Vernon wait inside their 10. Short kickoff. Williams gets it. But that's a big hole right up the middle. Quickly closed at the 37. Morgan Burnett made the stop. Let's get our first update of the day from Wendy Nix.
Pam, thank you. It's a Taco Bell studio update. Texas with a chance to clinch the Big 12 South this afternoon with a win over Baylor and an Oklahoma State loss. Colt McCoy, 3 yards to Jordan Shipley, his 7th receiving touchdown this season. 7-0 Texas. Pam?
Thank you, Wendy. There's a great combination. McCoy to Shipley. Texas sitting pretty to play in the national championship game in January. Little fake by Lewis. Morgan has him, and Lewis just threw it up and threw it onto the track. Derek Morgan showing his speed along with Ijon Cross, and it shook up Lewis.
Go ahead and let this thing run, you guys. You're going to see the pressure coming from Morgan from the left side, and there Thaddeus Lewis takes one for the team there as he got hit by two close to 300-pound guys in the chest, and he still had enough arm strength to get that thing out of bounds.
Both Cross and Morgan listed at 272 pounds each. Brings up 2nd and 10.
It's like dropping a piano on your chest.
They got two of them. And that pass over the middle falls incomplete. He had Varner out there in the pass pattern, but it brings up a 3rd and 10.
Thaddeus Lewis loves the middle of the field. You know, when I was breaking him down, most of his completions come down the middle of that field, whether he's trying to attack the middle against a 2-deep zone, which is what he's looking at on this down, or man-to-man routes where they run crossing routes.
Thad had hit his first 6 passes. He's only 2 for 5 since, and faces a 3rd and 10. Comes a stun up the middle, but the pass is completed to his running back, Desmond Scott. Stopped well short of the first down by Brad Jefferson.
Yeah, Boonaway is the one who came around on the inside on that stunt. Got into Lewis's face. He wasn't able to see anything down the field. Had to check it down.
David Cutcliffe talking to Lewis. What a great quarterback coach he is. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning coached them both, and they both still swear by him. Very close to their former offensive coordinator in Peyton's case and former head coach in Eli's case.
Yeah, Peyton will send his tapes by the bulk to have coach look at it.
Still does that as a pro. That's amazing. Kings punt. Mishandled by Tarrant. He was able to fall on it, but Georgia Tech has come dangerously close to losing fumbles on the kick and punt return respectively. There is a penalty flag down on the Georgia Tech side of the field.
There is a flag.
And another one against Georgia Tech. Paul Johnson said his team, particularly his offense, played a terrible first half last week. Got out to a quick start on Wake Forest.
Number 15 on the return team. 10 yards. First down.
Corey Earls.
Yep. Corey Earls, a backup defensive back. And the team that has the 2nd best rushing offense in the nation, off to a little bit of a shaky start, helped out hugely by Orwin Smith's career-long 84-yard kick return to set up the touchdown. And there you see it, only 5 rushing yards so far.
Yeah, with just 4 seconds to go here in the first quarter. You wouldn't have been able to get very good odds on betting that.
You figure Georgia Tech could have run all over Duke today, but that has not been the case. 7 more yards on the ground, this time by Anthony Allen. So Georgia Tech will close out the first quarter with 12 rushing yards. There is a flag on the play in the Duke defensive backfield. Ron Cherry is our referee.
Personal foul against against Georgia Tech.
That is their 4th penalty in the quarter.
Personal foul. 8. Offense. Half the distance. We will have an untimed down.
Demarius Thomas.
The talented wide receiver whistled for the personal foul. He has 1 catch today for 14 yards and a personal foul.
You take a look at it. Here it is, and you see away from the ball, and he just takes a cheap shot at Leon Wright, who is blanketing him all day long, and so Thomas says, I'm going to get my shots in too. Well, that one cost him. Because
of the offensive penalty, here's one more play in the quarter, and it's a big breakout run for Jonathan Dwyer. Dwyer takes it into Duke territory, stepping out at the 44-yard line. A 46-yard run for Dwyer.
You know you can't keep him under wraps for too long. as Dwyer on the draw play, on the long yardage situation, finds a little seam, and he shows you what this Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck is all about. He gets the big block from Sellers, and we got us a 3-point ball game.
Back to Durham, second quarter about to get underway. Georgia Tech ending the first quarter very well. A 46-yard run by Jonathan Dwyer. Before that, they only had 12 yards of rushing in the entire quarter. This from the second best rushing team in the country, averaging 315 yards per game on the ground. It was the second play that they've run in Duke territory today. The other was a 2-yard touchdown run by Nesbitt after a big kick return. Roddy Jones picked up 6.
Let's take a look at the players in this Georgia Tech spread option. It all starts with the quarterback, Josh Nesbitt, and then the B-back, Jonathan Dwyer, the fullback, the one we saw just bust that 46-yarder, and then the guy on the edge, the A-backs, Roddy Jones. He makes the plays on the perimeter along with Anthony Allen, and you see all of them with impressive rushing numbers.
Some great talent in this spread option, which is difficult to defend as it is, but they really bring a lot of talent. 2-yard run for Jonathan Dwyer, and we've done Georgia Tech 2 weeks in a row. When you ever talk to the opposing coaches, they bring that up. But just the great talent that they have running this offense.
Yeah, you know, you see the service academies also running the option type offenses, but they don't necessarily have the athletes in those skill positions that Georgia Tech possesses, and I think that makes a huge difference.
Nesbitt, Dwyer, you have wide receiver and Thomas, and then you have Allen and Jones to run as well. That's a great play as Nesbitt is taken down from behind by Kenny Rucker. Rucker starting for Vince Ogabasi, who's hurt today.
Yeah, here's Rucker right here. He's just going to come down the line of scrimmage and close hard and catch it from behind. Well, he was the second one in. That's just a good play up front.
Rucker from right here in Durham making the stop. Ogabasi is out. He's got a bad knee, bad leg, and that's bad news for Duke. He's one of their better run stoppers, and they are without him today, but that was a terrific play by his replacement in Rucker, and they are that short.
And there's no doubt in my mind that Paul Johnson's going to send Josh Nesbitt out and go for it. You see 10 for 17 last week, 1 for 5 in 0 for their first 4, and then in overtime went for it on a 4th and 1 and got it. And in the very next play, Nesbitt goes into the end zone for the winning points.
That was when they only needed a field goal to tie it and extend it into a second overtime, but Johnson went for it. Preston Lyons, who had a 31-yard touchdown run last week against Wake, is in there. But Nesbitt keeps it and gets the first down.
And this is a quarterback sneak, but he gets all the way out to the A gap, or the B gap, excuse me. See how they've got it crowded in the middle? They are trying to take away those A gaps, and they're closing down into it. But Josh Nesbitt is so good at finding that gap, that little seam, and there he gets it, and that's all he needs. It's so hard to stop.
Got 2 on a 4th and 1. This time gives it to his dive guy, Jonathan Dwyer, taken down by Gainey.
And they have to get
11.
They have to get Dwyer going. His big run came in a draw, on a draw play, the 46-yarder. He has not really gotten anything until that last play in their triple option look. Finally, they get the fullback going in that part of their offense.
Another first down. Georgia Tech keeps the drive alive at the 22. Another run to Dwyer, doesn't pick up much on that play. Taken down again by Patrick Egbo.
That's the thing about the triple option or this spread option offense is you'll get a pedestrian 1-yard gain, 2-yard gain, and then all of a sudden that thing clicks and it goes out the other end and they go all the way to the house.
Johnson so successful with this system at the Naval Academy and has really gotten a lot of non-believers to believe with the success he's had with it at Georgia Tech. Embry Peoples got the pitch that time. Yet another running back comes in and picks up 6 yards.
Nice tackle there by Vinny Ray. As I was talking about that option and where the production comes from, and there's basically 3 areas. You got your dive, your keep with the quarterback, and then the pitch, the final one. And so far the pitch the most effective, with the touchdown coming on the keep.
3rd and 4. Fans at Duke getting excited. Nesbitt with the late pitch to right, and he goes around everybody into the end zone for the touchdown. Perfect timing by Nesbitt to get rid of it, and Wright went in for the score.
There's that pitch, part of the option, working to perfection. Pretty nice block there by Roddy Jones, getting the corner just enough of him to allow Marcus Wright to sneak inside.
Wright with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. Scott Blair's extra point gives Georgia Tech a 14-10 lead. First time Tech has led today. Josh Nesbitt and Georgia Tech at one time trailed this game 10-0. Couple of touchdowns. There you see the last scoring drive, keeping it on the ground, culminating with the 16-yard run by Marcus Wright on a perfectly executed option play.
Yeah, the Tech offense is starting to hit its stride a little bit.
Johnny Williams gets under the kickoff. And he finds some running room. Good job to get it back to the 38-yard line. That's a 28-yard return. Let's go back to the TD.
Yeah, this is the triple option. You're going to see the dive fake first off. Right there it is. And now the quarterback's coming to the edge. And right there is Oglesby. And that's the guy he's going to read for the pitch. Oglesby takes him. He gets the pitch. You got Roddy Jones making a nice block out on the edge against Leon Wright. And that's all Marcus Wright needed to get inside that edge and get into the end zone. Perfectly executed triple option.
And the kick returner, Johnny Williams, shaken up on the sideline, being attended to. Georgia Tech keeping the ball exclusively on the ground in that last drive, and it was keyed by Dwyer's 46-yard run, which was technically the last play of the first quarter. Williams being helped. Looks like a leg injury for him. So here's a first down for Duke. First time Thaddeus Lewis and Duke have gotten the ball trailing, and the right tackle flinched.
False start, 77 offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Jared Holt.
Right, Jared Holt. And the reason is Derek Morgan is lined up across from him.
That would make me flinch, too.
Yeah, and that's going to have you flinch. Here's the big fella right there. I don't have a big enough circle for him. But here's Morgan right here. And when he gets the motor revving, you're going to be leaning back.
First Duke penalty and then a misplay on the snap. Lewis gets it. Let's go back for an update with Wendy Nix.
Pam, Penn State officially eliminated from the Big Ten title race last Saturday, perhaps feeling the letdown. This is Indiana, Ben Chappell to DeMarlo Belcher, and Indiana on top 10-0. Penn State 3 turnovers in the first quarter. On ESPN, a tie ball game, Michigan State and Purdue.
Thank you, boy. How about Indiana? But Indiana has been a fast starter and a slow or bad finisher this year. Tough place to play. Penn State, Boyette taken down from behind by Logan Walls, sophomore out of Dawsonville, Georgia.
Walls did an excellent job of playing screen right from the snap. He didn't even try to rush the passer. He worked down the line and took that away and ran it down for a big 286-pounder. Showed a little movement ability.
Good job to get the running back down from behind. Here's a 3rd and 19 for Duke. They got to get all the way up to the 49-yard line. Tech showing blitz, but they back off. Lewis nowhere to throw. Finally gets it to Boyette, the running back, who only gets it back to the original line of scrimmage. Brad Jefferson making the stop, one of the strongest linebackers. But Boonaway had some great pressure up the middle on Lewis.
Georgia Tech went to a 3-deep zone and just took away anything down the field. You can see there's a cornerback behind Kelly there, and there's just nowhere to go with it. Lewis had to drop it down.
Alex King punting it away to Tarrant, who has to retreat. He's dangerous when he gets the football on punt returns. And Tarrant gets it out to about the 34-yard line. That's a 22-yard return for him. Here comes Nesbitt in the spread option again. That was a basketball game last night right across the way here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke beat UNC Greensboro handily. Kyle Singler, the ACC preseason player of the year at 20 points. Duke has now beaten non-conference teams at home 69 straight. They've won 69 in a row. That's an NCAA record, so they extended it. Their schedule, and obviously will get tougher and tougher as the season rolls on and get into ACC play. A big weekend here at Duke. Nesbitt, a lot of time, plenty of time to find Embry Peebles. And Peebles finds a lot of running room up the sideline, all the way down to the 29-yard line. That's a 37-yard play.
This is just another missed tackle in the secondary, but you're going to get a go route here, and Peebles is just going to go sit down in that area. And there's no underneath coverage. You see the area is voided, and then you got to come up and make the tackle, and that's the fourth missed tackle by the Blue Devils secondary. Two of them have led to huge plays.
So a first down from the 29-yard line. The Georgia Tech offense has certainly awakened. Dwyer gets a couple on that play. Before that last Dwyer run, Georgia Tech had gained 127 yards on its last 10 offensive plays. Before that, just 26 yards on its first 11.
Yeah, and that's Paul Johnson pulling the strings. You know, he's a master at, okay, what are they doing? What are they trying to take away? And then how are they doing it? And then how am I going to adjust? Because he's seen it all. He's been doing this offense, you know, since what, 1986, I believe. And so he knows all the adjustments.
Also ran it in high school and has become a master of it, as Ray said. And there's a masterful first down run for Jonathan Dwyer. Picks up 13 more inside the 15 now.
This is just going to be a draw play, and you're going to see the defense get up the field, and Dwyer's just going to run past them. See how they get up the field? They're playing pass, getting in those rush lanes, and then he got a nice block on, Vincent Ray missed that tackle, fighting off a block. And that's when you get into the open with Jonathan Dwyer, that's a big play coming.
Third time Tech's in the red zone. They've got 2 touchdowns on their first 2 trips. Allen taken down from behind at the 11.5-yard line by Vinny Ray. 3 more yards on the ground.
This is a little tackle trap that they run. It's kind of a counter off of the quick pitch play that they had a lot of success with last week in the second half against Wake Forest. And they know Duke saw that and prepared against that. And then you kind of fake that quick pitch, run tackle trap back the other way.
Good enough for 3 yards. 2nd and 7. Preston Lyons, a transfer from Colgate, now in the backfield along with Nesbitt. The pitch. Taken by Peebles. Picks up 5 more yards. So Georgia Tech, well, it's a lot of time. Peebles has already gotten at least 3 touches today. So Johnson using a lot of different guys in his offense.
And he has a lot of different guys.
What a luxury,
that's the beauty of it. Yeah, he's got a lot of speed and talent, guys that he can roll in there.
And you see Roddy Jones, number 20, one of those talented guys, coming right back in for Johnson.
And that's how he runs his plays, in and out with those talented running backs.
3rd and 2 for Georgia Tech. Dwyer gets the first down and spins down inside the 3. Katron Gainey made the stop, but this Georgia Tech offense is rolling.
They're mixing it up real nice with some inside runs.
We mentioned that Georgia Tech has a lot of guys they can run in, and they've given the ball to 4 different backs. Nesbitt, the quarterback, keeping it 6 times himself. Inside of 6 minutes to go in the half. Georgia Tech, 1st and goal. Dwyer plows right, close, yes, and into the end zone. Another touchdown for Georgia Tech. 3 scores in a row after they fell behind 10-0.
And his big right guard, Cord Howard, 6'5", 308-pounder. He got right up into Howard's hip pocket and just pushed his way into the end zone.
Scott Blair with another extra point for Georgia Tech. Down early, 10-0, but the offense has gotten it in gear. Dwyer scores again.
Just sign on and drive off. Mazda's drive-off event is back.
Paul Johnson dialing up the offense, mixing things up. 21 straight points over the last 10 minutes and 22 seconds. They have scored touchdowns on their last 3 possessions, fueled by an 84-yard kickoff return by Orwin Smith that really got things rolling. Desmond Scott back to get the kick this time. And he takes it up to the 32, stopped by Brad Jefferson, a starting linebacker for Georgia Tech. Last week, Jimmy Johnson's misfortune in Texas opened the door for Mark Martin. This crash has really mixed things up. With 2 races left, the chase heads west. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Phoenix tomorrow on ABC. Coverage starts at 2:30 Eastern Time. Brought to you by Goodyear. Jimmy Johnson team a little bit upset about that, as well they should have been. If Johnson really was sitting pretty to salt the thing away. Let's see what Duke can do here. Desmond Scott, who returned the kick, got the carry, picked up 5. How does Duke come back from this?
Yeah, they just came back with the pistol offense, which has been a new wrinkle that they've kind of added to their deal. That's the 4th time today that they've gone out of that formation.
Kurt Roper, the co-offensive coordinator who makes the calls. 7 members from the Ole Miss staff came with David Cutcliffe. Of course, they were not together for a few seasons after Cutcliffe got let go. That's Connor Vernon, stopped by Mario Edwards, a couple of yards short of the 1st down. Let's go back to Wendy Nix.
And thank you. Time now for a Dr. Pepper ACC update featuring Florida State and Wake Forest. Keep an eye on Jermaine Thomas scrambling in. It made it 14-7. Florida State now 24-7.
And Knowles would have to win today in one of its remaining 2 games to hang on to that 27-year bowl streak that they currently have, the nation's longest.
Wake Forest with that heartbreaking loss last week in overtime to this Georgia Tech team in Atlanta. Here's a 3rd and 1 for Duke. They fake to Hollingsworth and then go for it. Oh, they had Connor Vernon wide open. Vernon had a touchdown if Lewis could have hit him.
Oh, Lewis is just going to hate himself over that one. You can't get anybody more open than what Vernon was. He came down on a crackback look. He's out on the right side, and he's just coming in here on a crackback look. There he shows up, and he's wide open down the field. You won't find a guy more open than that. It's just a horrible sin to overthrow it. Just stick it on him. Lewis tried to get a little too fancy with the throw and overthrew a wide open Vernon.
So there's 6 points gone by the wayside. Alex King back in to punt it. Not a good punt to begin with, and then it rolled back.
It's going to be interesting to see who that hit.
Yeah, whose foot did it hit? They hit a foot of a Duke player.
And the crowd wanted it to be Duke football, but I think the call is properly made. It hit the back shoe of number 38, I believe. Jordan Bias.
And you saw Corey Earls for Georgia Tech duck under it, number 15 in white. The ball did not hit him. And there's Corey getting talked to on the sideline. Hit Bias, so it looks like a very good call by this officiating crew.
Yeah, I don't see the ball really change its angle after it comes off of the foot of Bias and past Earls. I don't think it hit Earls. It definitely hit Bias. But John Armstrong is our replay official, along with Tommy Giles. And they're upstairs taking a look at it. Between the two of them, over 80 years of experience.
Ron Cherry, the referee.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball was touched by the kicking team. First down.
There you go, confirmed. They saw exactly what I saw. The ball did hit Bias, but it did not hit Earls, and Georgia Tech will maintain possession.
So a couple of, well, the last two plays really going against Duke. They looked like they had a gift touchdown, but Lewis overthrew Vernon, and then they were an inch or two away from getting the ball back on the punt. Nesbitt back in to run the offense. He takes a deep shot to Demarius Thomas. Thomas one-on-one against Leon Wright. And they're saying it's a catch. The beauty of this offense for Thomas is he's always going to get single coverage, and it worked out this time.
Well, Thomas is going to end up with the ball in one hand, but it gets knocked away by Wright at the end. You see him, he has it, and then it gets knocked away at the very end. And I don't know that he maintained control of this one. Had it right there, and then it got knocked out again, and we're going to have to take another look at this one.
Now, if it stands, it's a huge 54-yard play.
The previous play is under further review.
And you saw Nesbitt and company get up there and snap it as quickly as they could.
And you need indisputable video evidence. It's ruled a complete pass on the field. There he's juggling it. He never does quite even bring it in, and then he loses it at the end. Now I see you making the catch sign here, Pam.
Yeah, that's a catch.
I don't know that he had maintained full
got it there.
Control.
And then now he's got it. You're outnumbered here 3-1 in the booth here, Ray. You've been outvoted.
Let's see what John Armstrong and Tommy Giles think. Let's see if they agree with me. But I say this is not a catch.
That's a catch.
You have to end up with the football.
Well, he was out of bounds when it left his hands.
I agree with that point. I'm going to play both sides of the fence on this.
Okay. Demarius Thomas.
It's indisputably disputable.
Yes, and it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it, and I don't know if we had that on that, but I still think it's a catch. Thomas, a terrific receiver, second in the nation, averaging over 23 yards per reception. That'll be a 54-yarder if it holds up. And here's a young man who thought about transferring from Georgia Tech when Paul Johnson got the job, because the first thing you think about, well, here comes the option offense, and as a wide receiver, you're going to be frozen out, but he really has benefited from it.
Yeah, in fact, Brian Bohannon, the quarterbacks and B-backs coach, said to him, you know, just give it a shot and see what happens. And sure enough, he caught 5 more balls in this offense than he did the previous year, and then this year he's just having a great season.
3 100-yard games this season. And if this holds up, it will be his 7th catch of at least 50 yards. And as we mentioned, with this, when you run the spread option, your wide receivers are going to get single coverage. And when we talked to him last week, he was smiling about that. He loves that.
Yeah, he does love that. And I'll tell you what else he loves is the fact that Josh Nesbitt will just throw it up to him in a situation like that when he is obviously well covered. He trusts that Demarius Thomas will go up and get the football.
6'3", 229, terrific body for a wide receiver. This is what they're looking at.
You see, doesn't quite have it there yet. Doesn't have it yet.
Got it there.
Now he's got it, and now he does.
And then it was hit out.
Review.
Right.
The ruling on the field is reverse.
Thank you. I told you.
Second down.
You got to end up with the football. That's the bottom line there. It's that continuation of play thing where you have to be able to hand the ball to, here you go, Mr. Official.
Well, balls are hit out of guys' hands all the time. He was on the sidelines. I find that I'm surprised, not shocked, surprised that was overturned.
Can't shock you anymore, can it?
No, absolutely not. So erase the 54-yard gain. The ball goes all the way back to the 27. It has been overruled because they've determined that he did not have clear possession of the football. So what a break. Duke finally catches a break. And a good job bottling up Dwyer by Charlie Hatcher. Got him right up the middle. Duke in these uniforms, and especially from far away, they look like the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I think that's probably by design a little bit.
With Cutcliffe, there's Ole Miss had similar style uniforms, but this is definitely Colt blue, and especially when you're up high, that D could be a horseshoe when you look down at it, but those are some sharp-looking unis for Duke.
I agree.
Trying to get that Colt mojo going in Durham. 3rd and 9. Nesbitt passing all the way. Here comes pressure, and down goes Nesbitt. Ayanga Akpakawarik.
Akpakawarik just gets it done, coming around the edge on a speed rush. He ran the hoop, and he goes right here. He is. Big number 91. He's just going to come right around the edge on a speed rush, and he beats Brad Sellers and makes a beeline to Nesbitt for the sack.
That is the 5th sack of the year for Akpakawarik, leading his team in that category. Leon Wright waits around his 40 for the Anderson punt. Fair catch, and he gets it at the 30-yard line. Good 47-yard punt. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels continues tonight. ESPN delivers the number 2 team in the land as Heisman hopeful Mark Ingram leads Alabama against Mississippi State. That's all tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Mark Ingram, so exciting to watch in that Alabama
The offense hasn't been scoring a lot lately.
Yeah, the quarterback's been struggling all year. Ingram has been pretty good. Catch that tonight, prime time. All right, this Duke offense has really been struggling the last few drives. A couple of yards for Desmond Scott as we get you back to Wendy Nix.
Pam, thank you very much. Coming up on our halftime report, Penn State on the ropes at home. We'll take a close look at Texas tandem Colt McCoy and Jordan Shipley, and we'll talk about concussions and the role they've played this season in light of Tim Tebow and Javid Best. We'll see you back here at the half.
Thank you, Wendy. We look forward to that. Get you up to date on Indiana doing well so far against the Nittany Lions. Here's a 2nd and 8 for Duke, who led this game 10-0. Well, Scott goes down. Mario Butler able to tackle him down. Duke on its first drive went 9 plays, 73 yards for the touchdown. The last 4 drives, they've only had 1 first down and the field goal. That's it.
Well, a lot of that has been because Georgia Tech is playing very well on defense since that first drive. They've gotten pressure out of Derek Morgan, and the cornerback Burnett came up, just made that last play. He's been all over the field.
And here's the 3rd and 9. Thaddeus Lewis under pressure again. Pass incomplete, a little bit of contact. Mario Butler, the coverage on Connor Vernon. No flags on the play. Ben Anderson, the defensive tackle, that time with pressure up the middle.
And that's them just trying to go a double slant route. And it's the bottom one is the one that they're working on. And you see Butler with the coverage. I mean, he is all over Vernon the entire time. That easily could have been a flag.
Mario Butler, number 2, the defender, was a high school teammate of Tim Tebow back in Jacksonville. Tarrant waits. Garrett Tarrant, the top 10 in the nation in punt returns. Alex King gets it off. Tarrant fields it, has some running room. Into Duke territory. Tarrant marked out at the 46-yard line. Another good return, that time 20 yards. Damian Thornton with the tackle. Well, the Sound of College Hoops tip-off marathon is in the air. The ESPN family of networks showcase over 24 straight hours of live college basketball, 19 games from 5 different time zones, 6 top 25 teams. And speaking of top 25, Georgia Tech is one of 4 right now in the top 25 in both football and men's basketball. So the men's basketball season just getting underway, but that tip-off marathon is going to be crazy. On all of our family of networks, Stephen Hill for 6 yards, and we're inside a minute. Georgia Tech looking for more, Ray.
Yeah, and this is something that their offense is not really adept at as we take another look and make sure that he gets the toes in there, and nice job by Stephen Hill to do so. But they're not built as a 2-minute type offense, even though they do score quickly a lot of times. It's hard to do that in the option.
And that was a 6-yard pass play. They don't throw a lot of 6-yarders. It's usually all or nothing on the passes. And there's a pitch back to Peebles. It's been featured in the offense today. Picks up 8 in the first down. Embry came into this game with only 19 carries on the season, and he's already got 3 of them today for 18 yards. Nesbitt on the roll, gets away from trouble and looking for Thomas on the sideline, but it's incomplete. Leon Wright, as usual, on the coverage. 38 seconds left to go in the half. Duke got out to a quick 10-0 lead on Georgia Tech, but really they just came alive. The big kickoff return after Duke got the field goal, and they have been golden since the 3rd drive on.
Yeah, and that's when I believe Paul Johnson started making some of his adjustments, tinkering with some of the blocking schemes and the play calling, and things have popped open.
3 different players scoring touchdowns for Tech. 2nd and 10 from the 32. Nesbitt throwing into the end zone, and it is caught. Stephen Hill grabs it and gets his foot in for the touchdown. That throw was on the line from Nesbitt to the true freshman.
Rabacumba is on the coverage here. This ball is dropped in, and it's a bang-bang play as far as is the foot in. And you can see he's got the ball, and that back foot, the left leg, definitely in. That's a good call down on the field. That's like one of them bang-bang plays at first base.
And we got a bang-bang point after, too. Scott Blair came in at Georgia Tech. They kicked that thing as soon as they possibly could.
Yeah, they did. They didn't want to take a chance on a review. They've already lost one big play.
Yeah, that they shouldn't have. That's a 32-yard touchdown catch. Stephen Hill's first career receiving touchdown.
Boy, and they cranked up the old 2-minute offense. And Josh Nesbitt can throw the football. And he's done a good job doing that throughout, sometimes, throughout the season.
Stephen Hill, a terrific talent from Lithonia, Georgia, with his first collegiate touchdown. Tech up big.
Duke is a place where opposites.
Stephen Hill, the latest Georgia Tech player to score a touchdown on a 32-yard pass from Josh Nesbitt. It is 28-10. Let's go back and look at the end of this. Was he in the end zone?
I think he is. Right there, he's got the football. You see the feet down in there. That's a touchdown, but I think it was awful close. I would have thought they would have stopped and looked at that one.
Just need 1 foot in college football. Hill, as I mentioned, was a great athlete. He long jumped over 25 feet 8 inches, which would have been good enough for 7th in the latest Summer Olympics. That's how talented he is, and that was back in high school. His first receiving touchdown as a collegiate player. Scott gets it back to the 27-yard line, where Duke takes over. Only 27 seconds left and all 3 timeouts. Let's take a look at today's menu presented by Applebee's. Rose Bowl, very much so on the line when Iowa takes on Ohio State, but Ricky Stanzi is out. They're a terrifically talented quarterback. You've got TCU trying to take out Utah and stay unbeaten, and then the big game tonight, Notre Dame and Pitt on ABC.
I'm anxious to see that Utah-TCU result. TCU lost. That's the last game they lost to Utah, 13-10 last year.
Utah with that terrific season last year. Remember, they beat Alabama in the bowl game. Boyette could not come up with it.
Went 13-0, and some people say they should have had a chance to win a national title.
System's messed up.
Paul Johnson, Georgia Tech coach, one of those guys who believes there should be a playoff. And we spoke to him about that. He was very, I guess, pointed about it.
Adamant. Certainly he won a couple of championships at Georgia Southern using the playoff system in that division. Every other division uses it. Every other sport has a championship, except this one, a true championship. Here's a second down play. Keeping it on the ground with Boyette. Gets up to the 31-yard line. Burnett tackles Boyette after a 5-yard gain, and that should do it for the first half. Duke looking like gangbusters. Got out to a 10-0 lead. Thad Lewis with a touchdown pass and then a field goal, but then a huge kickoff return set things up, and Paul Johnson making those adjustments that he is known for. Georgia Tech with a comfortable 28-10 lead as we go to halftime. Here's Wendy Nix with our halftime report.
Pam, thank you very much. Virginia Tech 15-2.
By 5-Hour Energy. Pam Ward along with Ray Bentley. And then Georgia Tech really spurred on by a big kick return to get back in this game, Ray.
Yeah, Duke jumped out to the 10-0 lead, but it's brought back by Orwin Smith after he muffed it a little bit. That got the Dukies to overcommit, and they take it the other way, and then the option started to open up a little bit as Marcus Wright goes in for a touchdown, and then Stephen Hill with the touchdown catch on the last possession as Josh Nesbitt kind of had his way after the first 2 drives.
Georgia Tech off to a very slow start, got a big run on the last play of the first quarter by Jonathan Dwyer, and then Paul Johnson, the mastermind of this spread option offense, really taking it to a whole new level with all the talent that he has here at Georgia Tech. And the best rushing team in the country, or second best rushing team in the country. 134 rushing yards in the first half. Orwin Smith, who had that big kickoff return we just showed you on tape, now has it live. And he's corralled down just short of the 30-yard line. That's a 26-yard return for him. Jeremy Ringfield made the stop for Duke. Let's go back and look at the first half numbers. We already told you about the rushing dominance, and really that's no surprise.
Yeah, and that's about what you would expect looking at the scoreboard, and it's pretty much been Georgia Tech since that first Duke uprising where they went ahead 10-0. And ever since that point, it has been all Georgia Tech.
4 different Georgia Tech football players have scored, and they have it first down from the 29-yard line. Nesbitt with the keeper gets the first down and spins down just short of midfield. 20 yards for Nesbitt. Kenny Rucker made the stop for Duke.
And they brought a couple of guys off the edge at the top, and neither of them took the quarterback. You had Damian Thornton out there getting the pitch, and nobody stayed on the quarterback. And when Nesbitt has that kind of opportunity, he will take advantage of it.
So difficult. You pretty much know it's either one of 3 options on that play. And defensive coordinators, I'm sure, have lost many hours of sleep trying to come up with a way to defend it. Here's the speed guy, Allen, gets around the edge on the right side for 7 more yards.
And Vincent Ray made that tackle, and he's been playing pretty well in the first half. He was a young man we had a chance to talk to. 5 tackles on the day so far for Ray, and you know, we had a good time talking with him, Pam, and just said that he was a theater minor, and he was in a play, The Midsummer Night's Dream, played the character of Bottom. Said he was very nervous.
Yeah.
More so maybe than even for a football game.
Yeah, he said he figured, I play in front of thousands of people every Saturday, but that's nerve-wracking when you're an actor. And he said he had a great time doing it. Nesbitt, all the time in the world to throw it to Allen, who took it away from a defender and still won't go down. Finally down at the 17-yard line. Boy, Matt Daniels was right there with him, but Allen came up with the football.
And Allen showed the strength that he has in taking the ball. You see him going right down the pipe, down the seam. A good throw from Nesbitt, and there was no way that Matt Daniels could get the ball out of his hands. Allen showed some good strength with that, and then fighting for extra yards after he made the grab.
31-yard gain. Allen, the transfer out of Louisville, originally from Tampa, Florida. Great get for Georgia Tech. Ball is on the ground and recovered by Dwyer for Georgia Tech, so they hang on to it.
And Cord Howard, big number 71, pulled on the play, and when Nesbitt tried to go down back for the football, big Cord Howard just fell right over top of him.
And he is big, 6'5", over 300 pounds.
You see the ball, the snap came out really low. It actually looked like it hit Nesbitt in the right leg. And then the pile ensued. And there's a Georgia Tech player down on the ground from being in that pile.
That's Sean Bedford, the center for Georgia Tech. This offensive line that's sort of been pieced together throughout the season, and Bedford's going to go off the field for a spell. Austin Barrick, their usual starter at left tackle, out with a hurt heel. And now Bedford, who is a really smart guy, aerospace engineering major, taking classes that I can't even comprehend the titles of them, much less what the content must be. So Bedford, who was a former walk-on, came to Tech as a defensive lineman. Now their starting center hobbles off. Dan Voss, a senior from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. There you see number 77. He comes in to take Bedford's place.
Voss is a lot bigger a player. He's close to 300 pounds, whereas Bedford's a 270 pounder.
2nd and 10. And that looked too easy. Dwyer just popped out of there, popped into the end zone for a 12-yard touchdown run.
And Dan Voss, the new center, came in and single-handedly blocked the nose guard, and that opened things up. You see the block right there on 97, John Drew. Voss just took him out, and that opened up the dive. And there goes Jonathan Dwyer to the end zone.
Second time he's found the end zone today. He was barely touched on that trip. 35 consecutive points for the number 17 team in the nation. Georgia Tech sitting pretty for a spot in the ACC championship game. Team in control over the last 18 minutes and 36 seconds of playing time. They have outscored Duke 35-0. Yep, they were down 10-0 at one point. Look how casual they look on the sideline. Just another Saturday.
Nice day in the sun.
And it's a beautiful day. It was a little rainy and crummy around here for the last couple of days. Tropical Storm Ida out of the way, and it's turned into a beautiful sunny day at Duke. And the football team trying to make the day sunnier for their fans. Oh, that's a big hit at the end of Desmond Scott's run. He is spun down by Roddy Jones, who's one of the A-backs for Georgia Tech. Jimmy Johnson's misfortune in Texas has opened the doors for some other racers, including Mark Martin. Just 2 races left to go. The pressure on as the chase heads west. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Phoenix tomorrow on ABC. It's presented by Goodyear. Coverage starts at 2:30 Eastern Time sharp. Duke, its running game really stifled so far. Desmond Scott picks up 4 on that carry.
They had 19 yards on their first drive, that touchdown drive rushing, Pam, and since then just 4 rushing yards, and those came on that last play.
This Duke rushing attack last in the ACC, 119th out of 120 teams in the bowl subdivision, averaging only 68 yards per game. One reason is because Lewis is so effective through the air, and that one is complete for a first down. Brett Huffman catches it in front of Brad Jefferson.
Got the matchup that he wanted, a tight end on a linebacker, as Brad Jefferson's covering Huffman, crossing route underneath, and the Duke Blue Devils moving the football now.
That's only their first, or check that, second first down since that first drive in which they went in for a touchdown. That doesn't work at all. Boy, Ben Anderson got Desmond Scott just about as soon as he got the football. Lost 3 on that play.
Yeah, he just blew past the center, Brian Morgan. Gave him a big club with the right arm, and he was in the backfield immediately.
And this Georgia Tech defense has been particularly stout in second halves in their last 3 games, giving up only 16 points in the second halves of their last 3 ball games. Not boding well for the Dukies. as the pocket collapsed around him, and that one was off the head of Donovan Varner. Another lick taken by Lewis. Georgia Tech, number 7 in the country, visiting Durham to take on David Cutcliffe's Duke team. Duke needing 2 wins in its last 3 games, including this one, to go to a bowl game. But Paul Johnson's squad has it going on. They win today, and they're in great shape, obviously, right now. They head back to the ACC championship game as the Coastal Division champions.
Right, and they take a week off, and then they'll face their crosstown rival, or their in-state rival, I should say, the Georgia Bulldogs, before that ACC title game.
So this is their final ACC regular season game. Lewis zips it out and completes it. Oh, good job by Boyette. He was hit but kept his feet going. Dominic Reese didn't wrap him up, so that's a first down.
This is that curl flare pattern that they play. Listen to this hit. And that's a running back delivering a blow as Boyette blew up Dominic Reese.
Boyette, a 5th-year senior, did not play at all last year because of a bad knee. Really not quite himself. Not as effective as he was before the knee injury, but looking mighty fine on that play. First down, Duke. Lewis completes another one right on the run to Boyette. Boyette gets another first down. Picked up 16 that time.
Lewis, his movement in the pocket is one of the things that makes him outstanding. Watch him avoid the rusher from the outside and then maintain the ball in 2 hands to protect it and then make the throw to the outside, hitting Boyette again.
We talked about the struggles of this running game, but conversely, the passing game has been very good for Duke, particularly in the last 2 years with Lewis and Cutcliffe, and that's a sack. Van Anderson, the big guy in the middle, comes up with it.
Boy, and they have not been able to stop Anderson. He blew right past Harper this time. Harper trying to get, he expects a little more help from his center, did not get any. And he got the old weight moving forward and makes a big play again. Another tackle in the backfield.
That's the 2nd career sack for Big Ben. Makes it 2nd and 19. Lewis moving around. There's a flag down. Should be a holding against Duke.
Yeah, Jared Holt just hog-tied Derek Morgan.
Holding 77 offense.
You ever wondered what hog-tying looks like? That was it right there. Here's a hog tie right here. Got him around the neck and flopped him down. Now all you do is wrap the rope around his ankles and his wrists, and you got him.
Got him. Derek Morgan, so ridiculously talented, has 1 sack today. And he is most likely, well, he could be playing, let's say, in his last season at Georgia Tech. Scouting services have him rated very high, if indeed he were to turn pro after his junior season.
He's definitely a first-rounder in my book.
Lewis throws that over the head of everybody. Vernon was the closest Blue Devil to it. Good pressure by Anthony Abunaway. And the Georgia Tech faithful, quite a few people have made the trip from Atlanta, about a 6-hour drive away. Pretty easy plane trip, and a lot of them up on their feet. They're over there sitting in the sun on what has turned out to be a nice day in Durham. Alex King into punt again for Duke. Tarrant right away put up the arm. Fair catch at the 15-yard line. Georgia Tech in control of 35-10. The U.S. So they borrowed bleachers from North Carolina and NC State. 55,000 people crammed in here to see Oregon State beat Duke 20-16. The Rose Bowl played right here that one year. Duke hoping to get to a bowl game for the first time since 1994, but what an uphill battle they face. Dwyer, who is very close, in fact, has just hit 100 yards on the nose, so his 4th straight 100-yard game.
And a lot of the yards from the Yellow Jacket offense are coming right up the middle, as you see our rush chart here. And bam, you see that it's kind of heavy to the right side, but most of it right down the middle, right down the pipe where that fullback carries the football. And 61 of Dwyer's 100 yards have come after contact.
Gets it again. Goes up the middle for a couple more. Mike McIntyre, who is the defensive coordinator for Duke, was talking about how much he admired Jonathan Dwyer. Coach is saying, you know, here's a guy who comes in. Obviously, he's a very talented running back, but he gets hit on every play, whether or not he's got the ball or not. And he said there's not a lot of guys with that much talent who would be willing to do that, sell themselves out in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, every time their quarterback keeps the ball or they're pitching the ball on all those options, he's still getting tackled and banged around going up the middle.
Second straight year, he's over 1,000 yards, accomplished that last week against Wake Forest. And that pass was thrown behind Roddy Jones, who turned around and could not quite come up with it.
This is just really a kind of a little pop pass where you get it to the guy on the edge. The safeties are staying back. The linebackers come up and you try and hit it right in that area in between. And it was there, but Roddy Jones wasn't able to reel it in.
And what you are seeing here is the first second-half punt by Georgia Tech since they played Mississippi State back on October 3rd.
Wow, 5 games worth.
Chandler Anderson is used to taking the second half off, but he needed to work in this one. The return by Leon Wright, taken down by Terrence, who was his counterpart. Terrence, the good punt returner for Tech, made the stop on Wright's punt return. This week on Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, we got the Irish going into Pittsburgh to take on number 12 Pitt. Other parts of the nation get to see Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Saturday Night Football on ABC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Go to ESPN.com, search MAPS, M-A-P-S, where you can find the games you want to watch. And there is a new quarterback in for Duke. It is Sean Renfree, the redshirt freshman from Scottsdale, Arizona, in for Thaddeus Lewis. And he completes his first pass. Varner was able to slip a tackle and pick up 5. Sean Renfree, who originally committed to go to play at Georgia Tech with Chan Gailey, changed his mind and ended up here in Durham.
And you see he has played a little bit during the course of this season. Led the come-from-behind win against Army, hitting on 29 of 44, actually now 30 of 45 passes on the season.
And threw a couple of touchdown scores against Army, another team that runs the option. Keeping it on the ground to Hollingsworth, who runs for the first down. Right up to midfield. Are you surprised that they've gone ahead and made this move here, Ray?
No, I think realistically this game is out of reach, and Thaddeus Lewis is a senior, hasn't been extremely effective today, and it's time to get Renfree some action against a good ACC division opponent.
Renfree at 6'3", 210, good size back there. Completes it to Varner. And Duke's done a good job of getting away from some tacklers. That's a 29-yard gain. Let's get back to Wendy Nix.
Pam, thank you. Penn State looking to bounce back. They had trailed by as many as 10 points. Here, though, good news for the Nittany Lions. Ben Chappell picked off by Navarro Bowman. He will go 73 yards, his 3rd career interception. And Penn State with their first lead of the afternoon, 17-10 over Indiana.
Thank you, Wendy. And we talked about it earlier in the game. Boy, Indiana has had leads on just about everybody they play. Their problem has been finishing. And Renfree throwing that on the run to Brent Huffman. Looking like Johnny Unitas, not on that throw, but from up here with that number 19, they do look like the old Baltimore Colts out there.
Yeah, and if he can play anywhere near like Unitas, they might have something here, and I think they do. I think this is going to be another good quarterback here for Coach Cutcliffe, and he can make you a good quarterback. Spend so much time on the fundamentals of the position, and that's one thing that Thaddeus Lewis spoke to us about. That's just the mark of a Cutcliffe quarterback.
Renfree retreats, completes, and then buried right away is Hollingsworth. Jefferson just drove him into the ground for a 1-yard loss. Ben Anderson with more pressure rate. He's been good today.
Yeah, and here's Jefferson, the linebacker, and he's got the back all the way. So he sees, okay, it's screen. I'm going to work my way over there. Nobody to block him. That's a linebacker's dream. I've had that dream a few times. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it comes true. Huh?
When it does, it's a wonderful thing.
3rd and 11 now for Renfrey and Duke. Looks over to the sideline, and you see all the guys looking over to get the play, including Holt, the big right tackle. The only offensive lineman that looks over for it. Oh, boy, big trouble. Boy, Ben Anderson with his 2nd sack of the day. Derek Morgan, the terrific defensive end, but how about the defensive tackle having a great game for Tech?
Yeah, and they've been talking about wanting to get another guy to get in there and get it done, and here he is right here. He's just going to kind of work his way around on a stunt, and then they forget to pick him up pretty much, and that's just a big guy getting penetration, his 2nd sack of the day.
And here is a long field goal attempt for Schneiderwine from 52 yards out.
Test that quad out right now and see how healthy he is.
5 yards longer than his career long field goal of 47, and that was hit. Morgan Burnett was able to get a hand on it and block it for Tech. Picked up by Brad Jefferson, who is tackled around the 16-yard line. So Burnett got in there to block the field goal. And the lead remains 35-10 for Georgia Tech.
And a hustle play by Burnett coming around the edge, and kind of a lazy protection from the Duke wing there. He really didn't get any hands on him. And here he is right there. And he's just going to come off the edge and watch the wingman just kind of lazily just put a couple hands on, not really get anything on him. And Burnett's able to get his hand up there, and he beat Ringfield's block and got a hand on that thing, knocked it away.
Georgia Tech taking the ball back. Josh Nesbitt still in there, as is Jonathan Dwyer. Dwyer well over 100 yards again on the day, picks up 7 more. Adam Banks makes the stop for Duke. Duke came in. They had won 3 straight games against NC State, Maryland, and Virginia, and then got thumped by North Carolina 19-6 last week. And coming into today's game, they had to win 2 of their last 3 to make it to a bowl game. And what they're looking at now is having to beat Miami on the road and then beat Wake Forest to get to a bowl game. Tall task. Here's Anthony Allen. Another first down. 15 more yards for this potent running game. Banks makes another tackle. So Duke 5-4, 3-2 in the ACC, 5-4 overall. And David Cutcliffe's team with definitely a tough one on the road, and Wake Forest is never a pushover.
Yeah, and that's what Duke's looking at. But even if they lose all those games, 5 wins this year is a nice upgrade. Had 4 last year from where this program had been.
Cutcliffe doing a remarkable job with this program. Nesbitt up to the 40 as we get you another update in Wendy Nix.
Pam, thank you. Michigan lost to Purdue last week, and the Wolverines could use a win facing Wisconsin today. Tate Forcier to Roy Roundtree, the 14-yard connection, cuts the lead to 4, but Wisconsin now back on top by 10.
Thank you, Wendy. The Heat again, I guess it's safe to say, on Rich Rodriguez there. A lot of disgruntled Michigan fans after a fast start this season. Flag down. Oh, and the ball was down, but Allen was able to get on top of it for Georgia Tech.
You're going to have an illegal chop block. The left guard for the Yellow Jackets went low on the nose tackle while the center was basing him up.
Have an illegal chop block. 70 offense, 10 yards.
Joseph Gilbert is the one who's who does it. You're going to see him. He's right over there. And watch him working on the nose guard right here. You're going to see the center hit him up high right there, and then the guard goes down low to the legs. And that's, you can't do that. You can't high-low a guy. And John Drew took the brunt of that thing, but got the penalty called.
Saw that called a couple of times last week in the game against Wake Forest. There you see the penalties. Tech had a lot of early bad penalties last week. Demarius Thomas gets it. Thomas, another long pass play, scores for Georgia Tech.
He has such great ability to find the ball and then high point it and go up and take it with the strength that he has. And watch how he kind of changes gears a little bit once he locates the football. Breaks it down, chokes it down, times it out, and beats Leon Wright into the end zone for the touchdown on another nice throw from Nesbitt.
75 yards on that hookup. That is the 7th catch of at least 50 yards for Thomas this season. Blair adds the extra point. Boy, when Nesbitt completes them, they often go for big plays. 6 completions for 195 yards in this game, including 75 on that play. It's 50 yards for Tech on the season. That is the most in the bowl subdivision, and that's going to make some people say, what?
Yeah.
Because they run the option offense, but still they can throw it up.
Because they run the option offense and everybody gears up to stop it. And then you forget about that thing and it goes over your head.
That single coverage, Leon Wright trying to cover Demarius Thomas, who made a great play on that touchdown catch. Here's a good run back by Desmond Scott. One of the running backs takes the kickback 29 yards. Fans in Chicago, Boston, and Dallas-Fort Worth, there's a place you can go to get the latest on the teams you care about the most. Log on to ESPNChicago.com, ESPNBoston.com, and ESPNDallas.com for local sports news, radio highlights, and updates 24 hours a day. We are coming to you from Durham, North Carolina, where Duke, coming in with high hopes, has just been steamrolled after breaking out to a 10-0 lead. They have gone to their second-string quarterback in Sean Renfree. Thaddeus Lewis is okay, the starting quarterback, but he has been replaced by Renfree. David Cutcliffe getting him some playing time. Another short pass completed for a short gain to Desmond Scott. Michael Peterson out on the coverage. Mark Chase, the very good sports information director for Duke, informing us that there's nothing wrong with that, no injury or anything. It's just an opportunity for Renfree to go in there.
Yeah, I think a good opportunity. Not a lot of pressure on him in this instance, and give him a chance to get out there when the opponent is real and live and very good.
That pass complete, and more broken tackles. Morgan Burnett credit for the tackle. Brad Jefferson had a chance to wrap up Vernon early, but couldn't do it. That's a first down for Duke.
I'm impressed with Sean Renfree's arm strength and the quickness with which he delivers the football. Just a short little while that we've been able to see him here, he's been pretty accurate with it. Makes a quick read, and then he's throwing some good darts.
Did get playing time early this season, 4 touchdown passes in 4 games. And an opportunity, we would assume, to go the rest of the game here. And we still have more than a quarter to play. Oh, he went down. Looked bad that time. He twisted his leg as he went down. Renfree going down. Tongo comes up with the football for Georgia Tech. But more importantly, for Duke, Renfree got hurt on that play.
Yeah, and it didn't look like anybody hit him or touched him at all. He just, that knee buckled when he tried to move. Right here, you see right there, he doesn't get touched, and the leg just gave out and collapsed on him. Yeah, that's a non-contact injury right there. Those are a lot of times the worst kind.
Tried to make a cut to get away from the pressure. You see he has a brace on his left knee, but they're looking at his right knee. And it was not a fumble. He was ruled down. We will get this all straightened out, but first let's go back to the studio and Wendy Nix.
Pam, this game going on right now over on ESPN at 4 and 6. Purdue needs to win its final 2 to qualify for a bowl. Joey Elliott to Cortez Smith, his second of the year. 27-20 Purdue over Michigan State, and on ESPNU, Florida State 34, Wake Forest 21.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Georgia Tech right now a little bit over a quarter away from stamping its ticket to the ACC championship game in Tampa on December 5th. Clemson playing well in their game today, close by at NC State. Got word that C.J. Spiller threw a touchdown pass today. Boy, that kid can do just about everything, as Sean Renfree continues to be tended to by the Duke medical staff. So the other side, or the Atlantic Division, that's a little bit more convoluted than this. I mean, it's very simple. Georgia Tech wins this game, and they certainly are in great position to do so. They will represent the Coastal Division. If Clemson beats NC State, and then Boston College loses today at Virginia, they play at 3:30 Eastern time. Those will be your two teams, Clemson and Tech, and what has been a crazy ACC season. And there goes Sean Renfree, and we can only hope that it's not as bad as it looked.
Yeah, it's good to see that he's pretty much on his own power there.
Planted the foot, and that right knee buckled on him. The young man having the opportunity to get some playing time. So the quarterback ruled down, so that it was not a fumble. Renfree was down, and Lewis is back in. Duke controls the football. Lewis dancing around the pocket, throws it incomplete, looking for Austin Kelly, who's been rather quiet today in their offense.
Yeah, coming in, Kelly, the leading receiver with 45 catches, and they haven't been able to find him or get him going at all today.
Most experienced wide receiver, and coming in just 22 yards away from 500 yards for the season. Vernon and Varner already at the 500-yard mark, but Kelly has been unable to bring one in. Lewis under pressure. There's a holding penalty. That ball is complete, but that's coming back. Vernon has it. When you talk about a hog tie, Derek Morgan had two guys taking him down on that play.
Yeah, can they call double holding?
Ooh. Maybe that should be a 30-yard penalty, because that was two big holds on the incredibly talented Derek Morgan. And this offensive line for Duke, not its strength. And here they are taking on one of the best in the business in Derek Morgan.
Yeah,
Holding, 77 offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay the down.
Yeah, and they called it on Holt again, working on Morgan. And you can see right there is where the action is happening. And again, he's got the hog tie on him. Just wrapped the old arm around his neck. That's the second time we've seen that exact play.
So to negate the 15-yard completion, they knock him back 10 with the penalty. So it's third and a whopping 27. Complete, but well short of the first down. They don't even get back to the original line of scrimmage there. Austin Kelly comes up with the catch. He picks up 14. That's about half of what they needed.
And Georgia Tech was pretty much conceding that play. They just didn't want him to get any further down the field, playing very deep in the secondary and letting Duke complete it underneath, come up, make a tackle, and force a punt.
Timeout. Georgia Tech.
There was confusion by Georgia Tech on whether or not they should run punt return or punt safe, so they had to burn the timeout to get the right group out there.
Monday Night Football coming your way on ESPN. We have an AFC North battle as the Baltimore Ravens take on the Cleveland Browns on ESPN's Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern Time. Coverage starts with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's at 7 Eastern Time. And our friends in Cleveland hate the Baltimore Ravens because they used to be the old Cleveland Browns. So
they're not over that yet.
No, and they never will be. The Browns are bad this year, but this is going to be a heck of a game because they love to play Baltimore. Baltimore's had some tough losses, and you see Cleveland at the bottom of the barrel in the AFC North. Lots of rumblings about Eric Mangini and his future there in Cleveland. Brady Quinn going to start again. Will it matter?
It hasn't.
Check it out on Monday Night Football. The fans in the Dog Pound are going to be fired up to welcome Baltimore to town. Tarrant, fair catch at the 23-yard line. Kevin Jones, a new punter, is in. Alex King had been punting, so some backups getting some work in for Duke. They trail big time, 42-10. Points in the second quarter alone, and Josh Nesbitt has called it a day. Jabo Shaw in now to play quarterback, and he had a terrific game against Duke last year, throwing for over 200 yards when Nesbitt was hurt and couldn't play in that game. Preston Lyons gets the carry, picks up a couple. Jabo, a sophomore out of Flowery Branch, Georgia.
And you mentioned that game. They had a hard time getting the running game going last year against Duke. That was a real tight ball game until late in that game, and that's when Demaryius Thomas got loose. He caught 8 of those passes for 230 yards and a couple of touchdowns from Jabo.
Georgia Tech has won 5 straight in this series, about to make it 6 in a row. We anticipate them keeping it on the ground. They do right there with the pitch to Marcus Wright, who loses some yardage. Let's head back to Wendy Nix in the studio.
Pam, the last time Penn State won with 4 or more turnovers, 2006 against Michigan State. If they beat Indiana today, and there's Evan Royster to make it 24-10, they will do so, having turned the ball over at least 4 times.
Thank you, Wendy, but still up big now in that game. Indiana had the early lead, just like Duke had the early lead in our game here. But that seems like eons ago. Georgia Tech has really got it rolling on offense. Their second-string quarterback is in. And Shaw rolls, gets the first down, and goes out of bounds just short of the 40-yard line. Adam Banks was the last defender to get a hand on him, but it's a first down.
Hey, he got outside of contain, and when you break contain and there's man-to-man coverage down the field, which is what there is, there's nobody left to come get the quarterback. They have to come off of those receivers, and they don't do so until it's too late.
Josh Nesbitt looking on from the sideline. He's thrown a couple of touchdown passes, also ran for another one. 6 for 10 for 195 yards through the air for Nesbitt. Pitch to the other side to Peebles. And Embry Peebles gets another first down for Tech. Austin Gamble, a true freshman, getting some playing time, so both squads are putting in a lot of their reserves, but we already talked about it earlier in the game. Boy, Georgia Tech has so many guys they can just put in there for Paul Johnson, and they all seem to be effective. Rather patchwork offensive line, but they're all getting it done for Georgia Tech. Could they be the best one-loss team out there? A lot of debate going on.
They're a hard team to beat.
I don't think anybody would want to play them. That didn't work. Shaw hung on to it and got hung on to by Charlie Hatcher. Georgia Tech, number 7 in the BCS standings. Compilation of the polls and the computers. There you see the big 3, Florida and Alabama. Anticipate if they play in the championship game, and we could have the winner of that game play Texas in the championship, but there's so many other good teams. And you see the one-loss team, the best or the highest ranked one-loss team certainly is Georgia Tech. Good fake on the dive, and then the pitch to Wright. And Marcus Wright takes it all the way down to the 28. We'll get you another update with Wendy.
Pam, Houston quarterback Case Keenum leads the FBS in passing touchdowns, but he's thrown just 1 this afternoon. His Houston team facing Central Florida. That's Bryn Harvey on the move, and UCF with the 3-point lead over number 15, Houston. Pam?
Well, thank you very much, Wendy. Great job so far by Central Florida. Houston airing it out with the best of them. Here we've got a big 42-10 lead for Georgia Tech. Preston Lyons with another carry, picks up 4 for the Ramblin' Wreck. They have the week off next week and then host Georgia. Always a huge game for Georgia Tech fans. There you see it. So they are done. Paul Johnson done with the ACC, and then can concentrate on Georgia Tech, who struggled against Georgia lately.
Second down
and then looking forward, I think it's safe to say they're going to play in Tampa on December 5th.
I'm going with that.
Yep. That is where the ACC championship game will be played. Marcus Wright gets another pitch. Stays in bounds. Oglesby comes up with a stop. Lost a couple on that play.
Paul Johnson continues to answer his critics with this spread option offense. You know, people have doubted whether they were able to compete against some of the top tier teams, and yet here they're going to go to 10-1 today. And they also question will he be able to recruit, and things are going real well. He's got 12 recruits signed for next year, all of them from the state of Georgia, and he's quite pleased with that class coming in.
On 3rd and 8, Shaw gets out of trouble and runs for another first down.
Shaw's showing some escapability back there, and it's the second time he has scrambled and been able to get himself a first down. Here's that fake toss, looking to throw back. The pressure forces him to scramble up the middle, gets enough yardage for a first down, and then wisely hits the pay dirt.
Yes. Very smart move. Paul Johnson winning a couple of championships at Georgia Southern, very much in favor of a playoff. The rush yards, Duke in the hole, -20. There's a fumble on the exchange. Shaw gets up on it, recovers it. He was trying to get the ball into Preston Lyons.
And that was just a problem with the mesh between Shaw and Lyons. Somehow Duke came up with the football.
It looked like Shaw had it.
Yeah, he jumped. Well, let's see what happens here. That pigskin, well, yeah, it snuck out the backside of Shaw, and you see the ball right there, and Oglesby doesn't give up. Picks up the recovery.
Great awareness by Oglesby, and see Paul Johnson, he wants a timeout.
He thinks
begs
he
to
had the
differ. Yeah.
He wants an explanation. And they're saying, Coach, go back to the sidelines. You're ahead 42-10 here. Relax. But that shows you what kind of a competitor he is. He's not willing to concede a single thing.
He's not going to relax. That's the 5th Georgia Tech fumble today, and the first one they've lost.
Well, I was surprised myself but you can see he does not have possession. Shaw does not have possession. That ball is on his hip, and Oglesby comes in and picks it up. And Paul Johnson doesn't believe it, so he's challenging it, and he's going to lose this challenge. You can see that that's a mistake right there by Lyons. You don't reach out for the ball. You let the quarterback put it in. But as Shaw goes to recover it, that's not possession when you're laying on it with your hip. He flattened it out a little bit, but he didn't get possession of it. And then Oglesby says, I'll take that, thank you. And that's Duke football. Here it is again. You can see it right there. Some of the air's coming out of it. But that doesn't count for possession.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. We have a fumble, obtain the possession, first down.
Paul Johnson still don't believe it. His eyes betrayed him.
And he's still talking to Shaw about it, wondering why he didn't.
Yeah, how'd you not get that ball?
All on the ball. So again, the 5th fumble by Georgia Tech today, but the first one that they have lost. The ball obviously bouncing Georgia Tech's way, as it has a tendency to do for a team that's about to go to 10-1 on the season. Not that they're not a very good football team, but no breaks for a team like Duke.
Remaining.
Our board up here has it correct.
Yeah, the Buckeyes are all over it, but it was showing 2 timeouts remaining on the scoreboard to the right of us in the end zone. So Duke does have the football. And a run just past the 25-yard line by Raekwon Boyette. one of the game captains. Duke has game captains, none for the entire season. Boyette had an 18-yard touchdown catch way back in the first quarter on Duke's first possession. They went up 7-0, got a field goal to make it 10-0.
That was a long time ago.
It feels a long time ago. Sure, and many of the Duke fans, I would say most of the Duke fans, have gone home to watch the rest of this on television. Oh, wide open is Brandon King. Lots of space. Renfrey found him, or excuse me, Lewis found him for a 29-yard gain.
And a nice job of Lewis. You're going to see the tight end's going to sneak out into the flat area there. And he goes late and nobody sees him. And so King finds himself with a lot of green grass around him, and Thaddeus Lewis finds the extra time by his excellent pocket movement and then spots the open receiver.
7th catch of the season for King. He has made some big plays for Duke this year. Now in Georgia Tech territory. Another slip tackle, this time by Austin Kelly. 2nd catch of this half. Martin Frierson couldn't wrap him up. That's 8 more yards for Duke.
And Dave Womack, the Georgia Tech defensive coordinator, he'll have plenty to talk about in that meeting room as he'll go after those defensive backs for the sloppy tackling that they've had here today. And I'm sure he'll tell his guys, we're not going to be able to get away with that down the road.
2nd and 2 now for Duke. Little play action. Going for it. Vernon in the end zone. Can't get it. Terrific play by Jamea Thomas. Able to get his hand in there and flick it away.
That was a really nice play by Thomas. Timed it out. Had the good coverage. Lewis threw it up to where just his guy could catch it, but Thomas could get there and knock it away. It was a pretty good throw. Dropped it in nice, but Thomas right there on the spot bats it away.
Got that left hand in there. Thomas is a guy who was recruited as an A-back at Georgia Tech. There's quite a few guys there who are pretty good. So he is a safety and did a terrific job keeping that away from Vernon.
Just wanted to get on the field, move him over to defense.
3rd and 2. Oh, just as he smacked, the ball is thrown and then eventually intercepted after a tip. Martin Frierson comes up with it. A flag down at the end of the play. Boy, Ben Anderson came in and hit Lewis. And then Georgia Tech ended up with the ball.
Lewis is a little limping as he comes off the field. He took that hit, but that one I think should have been caught. Went right through the hands of Austin Kelly. And Frierson, you won't find an easier interception than that, and he bobbled it a couple times.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Defense. Added to the end of the run. 15 yards. 1st down.
So Georgia Tech up 42-10. Here's that last play. Went through the hands of the receiver, and Frierson is able to come up with it. Tech with the football.
And that young fan has hit the nail right on the head. Georgia Tech on its way to Tampa Bay. They just needed to win today for Paul Johnson's team to clinch the Coastal Division. And by doing that, they will play in the ACC Championship game in Tampa on December 5th. Jay Beauchamp, the 2nd-string quarterback, still in there, picks up a yard. This week on Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, Notre Dame has a must-win game as they take on number 12 Pittsburgh on the road. Other parts of the nation see Texas Tech and number 19 Oklahoma State. Saturday Night Football on ABC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Go to ESPN.com, search Maps, where you can find the game that you want to watch. Dave Wannstedt doing one heck of a job in Pittsburgh. Says that is the only college job that he wants to have, and he's done a terrific job. They're off to a great start. An opportunity to beat Notre Dame tonight. Shaw hangs on to it. We get to another update with Wendy Nix.
Sam, Michigan State's 5 losses this season have been by a combined 23 points. But today, Sparty not keeping it quite as close. Ralph Bolden punches it in. And actually, Michigan State has since scored. It's a 34-30 ball game. Pam?
Thank you, Wendy. We figured that would be a good one in West Lafayette. Joey Elliott, your favorite quarterback still in the Big Ten?
Yeah, he's playing as well as any in the Big Ten. And it's like they're trying to hang on to beat the Spartans today.
Fun game going on there. This is a fun game if you're a Georgia Tech fan. A lot of second stringers in there. Good completion to Daniel McCahan. First time we've seen him in there. And he catches a pass for 18 yards in front of Zach Green, a true freshman getting some playing time in the defensive backfield for Duke.
That wasn't the tightest spiral I've ever seen, but Shaw did get it there.
Yeah, it was effective. And these Duke defenders know him all too well because he lit them up for 230 yards in the air. He started against Duke in the Tech win last year. And the pitch to Embry Peebles. Peebles, big-time running room, wrestled down at the 20. There's an upset brewing. Let's hear now from Wendy Nix.
Ben, we do have an upset alert, and it involves number 15 Houston facing University of Central Florida. Brett Hodges to Quincy McDuffie. And that's 30-20. It's now 36-20. Case Keenum, 231 yards and a touchdown, but his team trailing.
Big league for Central Florida. Thanks. 231 yards for Case Keenum is nothing. That could be a first quarter for the kid.
Exactly. Not today.
Richard Watson, another back in for Tech. Well, this is Marcus Wright, the fast guy. Shows his speed. Goes down inside the 10-yard line, picks up a dozen more. Austin Gamble, another freshman, makes the stop for Duke. One good thing for Duke, they only have 9 seniors on this team. There's only 10 on Georgia Tech, 6 of them scholarship seniors. So Duke, if people are going to look at this, you see the rush yards for Duke just abysmal in the second half compared to the best rushing, or the second best rushing team in the country. But David Cutcliffe does have this thing going in the right direction.
Oh, no doubt about it, Pam. You look at the way things were prior to him coming in, and he already has 9 wins and just, you know, basically 2 seasons, has a couple games left, but they had only won 10 games in the previous 93 before he had come here. And to get 4 last year and now 5 already this year, he does. In fact, he told us it's ahead of where he thought it could be, because he said when he got here and he put him through their first workout, he stopped at about 15 minutes into it and said, you know what? I'm gonna make you guys improve so much, because this is the fattest, softest football team I have ever seen. And he was serious.
Georgia Tech serious. Richard Watson's turn to find the end zone. Just inserted earlier in this drive. Watson goes in for his first collegiate touchdown. The redshirt freshman from Tallahassee. Everybody scores today for Tech.
That's just a simple dive option on the triple option, and good read there by Jabo Shaw to give it off, and 6 more points for the Jackets.
Make it 7 with Scott Blair's extra point. 49 consecutive points for the soon-to-be, there it is, Coastal Division champs in the ACC.
People choose 5-Hour Energy over 4.
Georgia Tech fans already starting to celebrate and no doubt plan out their road trip to Tampa Bay. Josh Nesbitt on the right, Jabo Shaw on the left, 2 quarterbacks. Another terrific day for Nesbitt, who was taken out late in the 3rd quarter. As he just continues to light it up. He completed 6 passes for 195 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
19.5 yards per completion.
Per attempt.
Or per attempt, excuse me.
Completion even more.
Even more.
But there's a flag down. Need a calculator to figure that out. But the 9th, he now has 9 passes of at least 50 yards this season at a 75-yard touchdown to Demarius Thomas.
Cherry nowhere to go, apparently.
A block in the back, number 27. Half the distance, first down.
Got that call in. Ball now at the 8-yard line. That's where Duke snaps the ball. David Cutcliffe continues to clear his bench out. Patrick Karunwane is now in as a running back. 3-yard gain for Patrick on that play, stopped by Julian Burnett, a true freshman, getting some playing time for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, if you were on the trip for Georgia Tech, you're going to be in this ball game.
Yeah. Good ball game, getting everybody in. Great way to go into your bye week and then get ready for the Bulldogs of Georgia. Duke, on the other hand, has to regroup and then head down to Miami for a game next Saturday. Another stop. Karunwane with the football, and there's a Georgia Tech. Maybe he'll get in the game. He's got his hat on. He's ready to go.
If he's got any eligibility left, get him in there.
That's cute. I've seen kids wear helmets during a game. And he's ready to roll. What a season it has been for Georgia Tech, continuing to build on their best start since the national championship season of 1990. Thaddeus Lewis completes it for a first down to Sheldon Bell. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels continues tonight. ESPN delivers the #2 team in the country. Alabama taking on Mississippi State in Starkville. Can the Crimson Tide continue their drive toward the BCS championship game? Check it out tonight at 7 Eastern time on ESPN. Always entertaining to watch Mark Ingram run. A lot of people think that he could be a Heisman guy. Do you have a top Heisman guy? I'll give you a chance to think about it if you need it.
Yeah, I would vote for Dan Lefevre out of Central Michigan right now.
Some people might say that's a homer vote. Central Michigan grad, an all-time great linebacker there.
Yeah, but if you saw him play on Wednesday night when he had 6 touchdowns, you might agree with me.
Pretty good game. Let's go back to Wendy next for another good update.
It's funny, Pam, that you mentioned pretty good game, because in this Ole Miss Tennessee game, you only need one name, and that's Dexter McCluster. This is his 4th rushing touchdown, 71 yards. He's rushed for 261 rushing yards today. That's a school record. It is 35-17, Ole Miss on top.
Oh, how about that? One of the great names in all college football having a terrific game. Tennessee getting rolled right now by Ole Miss, 2 schools that David Cutcliffe is very familiar with. Josh Tresvant with his first catch gets another first down for Duke. Rod Sweeting, another true freshman, in on the play for Georgia Tech. Cutcliffe coming over. Remember, he had all those great years as an offensive coordinator at Tennessee and then had a chance to be a head coach at Ole Miss. And we talked about it earlier in the game, and you really can't, I don't think, say it too much, how much he is respected by quarterbacks. Peyton Manning, who's been in the NFL now for a dozen years, still sends tapes to Coach Cutcliffe to break down for him.
Yeah, he's a quarterback guru, and you just look at some of the guys that he's worked with, and you can understand why. And he was a lot of fun to talk to, Pam. I think he's really got things going in the right direction. He's an old school guy. He cut his teeth as a graduate assistant for old Paul Bear Bryant back in the day. And he kind of runs things Coach Bryant's way. He says we work hard around here, and their practices are very tough, and his kids are in shape, and they're definitely well schooled on what they're supposed to do.
Didn't play for Alabama, but became a grad assistant coach. And how many, what did he say, 597 pounds they lost in that one off season, his Duke team, because they were the fattest team he said he's ever seen?
Yeah, and when he took over in January of 2008, in that first off season, the team cumulative weight loss, 597 pounds. He got him in shape.
Karunwane with another carry. More NASCAR coming your way. Only 2 races left to go. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Phoenix tomorrow on ABC at 2:30 Eastern time, presented by Goodyear. Jimmy Johnson, getting in that crash in Texas last week, has opened up the door for our favorite veteran driver, Mark Martin.
Not going to call him old guy.
He's my favorite old guy, too.
Okay.
Said with much affection.
Yes.
As a fellow old guy, I really like him. We're inside a minute to go. Georgia Tech rolling off 49 straight points in this round of Duke. Lewis completion. Another first down. That's Danny Parker, junior out of Rockville, Maryland. Machen with the stop for Georgia Tech. So Georgia Tech looking good as this one-loss team, eh, buddy?
Yeah, their only loss came to Miami. And that was back in the third week of the season, a 33-17 loss. And that was when the heat started on Coach Johnson about how they just weren't good enough to play against athletic teams. And he said, you know, that really wasn't the case. They were just better than us that day. But Georgia Tech has been better than their opponent now 10 days.
And they are going to win the Coastal Division Championship. Sheldon Bell couldn't come up with that pass. And move on to play in Tampa Bay. But first they got to take care of Georgia. And the headphones are off. Some smiles. They got the Gatorade bath, a little wet, getting that hair all back in shape. It's a good thing about these new materials, like the dry fit materials. That stuff will dry off a lot quicker than the old days. But boy, what a job Paul Johnson has done, and you love his spirit as a guy. He doesn't care what people say about him. He just keeps on doing what he does, and it keeps on working. Terrific job for Georgia Tech, your 2009 Coastal Division champions. For the 9th game this year and 6 in a row, they've gone over the 300-yard mark for rushing. They breezed to a 49-10 win over Duke. We'll be back in Durham.
I've driven a lot of different cars, but two things never change. No one demands more from their car than me, and nothing protects under the hood better than Peak.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze is formulated with an advanced organic technology to protect any engine of any make, any model, any time. If you can drive it, Peak can protect it.
And when I drive it, it better perform.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze.
When you peak, you win.
There for you when you're in a tight spot.
Yes. No. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little obsessive. My kids call me the shredder because every bill I get goes right in my
inbox, not my mailbox. I pay for everything online so I can get these text messages. They're called spending alerts. I feel more in control.
Now they could just come up with chocolate alerts.
That'd be great.
At Citi, we know everyone's talking about keeping money safe. And we've got lots of ways to help, like spending alerts. Because when your money's safe, your mind's at ease. That's why Citi never sleeps.
Dear PlayStation, just got my PS3. So what you got?
What do I got? 2 words, montage.
Hi.
PS3, now $2.99.
PlayStation.
When fire or water damage strikes your business, call the cleanup team that's faster to any size disaster at 1-800-SERVPRO, like it never even happened.
Georgia Tech football team celebrating with the Georgia Tech fans. They are indeed Tampa bound. The Coastal Division champions for 2009.